Well, it's the perfect day to be out on a trek. And regardless if you're just doing a day hike, camp out, or running errands on the way home from work, I want to have an epic survival knife at the ready for when the four horsemen of the apocalypse come riding in. And so that's why today we're taking a look at the TRC Apocalypse midweight survival knife in Elmax steel. Oh yeah, this thing is a monster. And in today's video, we're not only going to be just discussing the topic of a midweight survival knife in general, but I want to make one thing clear right out of the gate. You don't need a premium survival knife to face the apocalypse. But all joking aside, if the crap hits the fan, wouldn't you want the best? I know I would. And so in today's video, as we test this premium blade, epic tool, I mean, come on, it's literally titled The Apocalypse. We're gonna find out the capabilities, the limitations. I have some competitive options so we can really like weigh how good is it versus, you know, other stuff out there. I'm gonna go ahead and hop back on the trail, and I'm gonna see you guys back at home so we can really unpack this tool. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Aaron, this is Gideonstactical, and let's dive in. All right, made it back safe and sound to the shop, and I'm gonna tell you there are two attributes in the design of the Apocalypse that set it apart from most midweight survival knives. It's the guard in tandem with the tip design. Most midweight survival knives are designed to be used in the woods, camping, backpacking, hiking. So the ergonomics tend to be more gradual, great for carving, but don't always give you full confidence in grip for stabbing. This has given us excellent micarta handle scales that encapsulate half of the guard. It's all chamfered and rounded, and the guard protrudes even further. And because of that design, I have extreme confidence in my grip for stabbing, for piercing, for slashing, and to be used in a self-defense role. And I can put my full energy behind that stab because I have full confidence in the grip. If you don't have full confidence, you have kind of like a puko design or a very gradual guard, you're not gonna really put the energy behind it, and you won't maybe have the power of piercing that you're looking for. So that, and then in tandem with a transitioning clipped tip, having strength when stabbing, I wouldn't treat it like a crowbar, but definitely can handle prying if necessary. And so those in tandem with the choice of 1.5 inches from spine to edge, so a little bit narrower, not quite as broad as some, even that we're gonna look at today, means it's like a missile. So it's gonna dart into different types of applications and be used in that way. Is there a trade-off? Yes. Because of the swedges there, it'll eat up your batoning stick a little bit more if you're pounding on it, and you don't have as much areas to put your thumb and really put deep pressure for notches. You can basically do it about halfway up the spine, and the last half of the blade is not fun to put pressure to make some sort of notch. It's not king of those. And in fact, what I would do is, because the blade can handle it, spine thwack a notch and then just use some minor pressure to kind of clean it up and get it to the exact geometry if you're doing different type of notching. So it can be done, but there's gonna be pounding involved in order to do it properly and really do it well. Now, does that mean then that's basically like a stabbing crowbar? No. Even though it's 0.256, so a hair over 1/4 of an inch thick with a high saber grind, you can find some convex. Mine is flat or saber. They do sometimes do convex, I guess, which would be bonkers if you like convex. But this flat version, the geometry is insane for carving, dude. It is insane. I did so many feather sticks with this blade, and you'll see that when you read comments and you see other people who've had this, the geometry of being 1/4 of an inch, but basically still being able to make crazy furls and feathers on your feather stick is really impressive. And that allows you to also then do great big sweeping gross motor skill cuts to get down wood, to make a spear point, do those type of things. It's going to be able to handle that finer work as well in a quote unquote one tool option survival knife, application. Now I'm going to address what that really looks like when we talk about, say, saws, hatchets, all that, along with the Elmax as we get into competitive options here in just a little bit. Now, where does a one-tool option start to make sense? Because we all know right tool for the right job, so arguably we should have a pack axe, we should have a folding saw, and some sort of bushcraft belt knife. But if we're talking about having it be man portable in either a go bag for an emergency situation or just a day hike like what I was on when I'm doing this, I'm going miles and miles in elevation in mountainous terrain. And do I really want to be packing about 60 ounces of gear if I am not planning on camping and bushcrafting? I'm just going on a hike. I'm just building out a go bag. Then that's where at 20 ounces for this, a third the weight, I can cut 40 ounces and potentially still have a lot of capability. I can chop down a tree to help me build a lean-to, or I get a fire started if I have to. You know, yeah, it took like 30 seconds and I burned a lot of energy, and a folding saw would be better, but I can do it if I need to in a pinch. And I would put this blade up against any pack axe and its splitting capability any day of the week. This can easily split anything my little hatchets that I would pack in can do. And so when we start thinking about it in that category of go bags or day hiking or multi-day backpacking, that's where mid-weight survival knives, to me, cutting a lot of weight, yes, they are not ideal for those scenarios, but they can accomplish so much, and I can do it with one tool and less weight. That to me makes them really valuable in those type of scenarios. But I want to know from you guys, are you somebody who's like, I don't care about the weight, I'll pack in extra weight to have the right tool? Or are you like, no, I'm like a one tool option guy, cut the weight, hope I don't have to use it, but if I do, I know I can rely on it to get a lot of tasks done. Now, how about the Elmax steel? I've used it on several combat knives, survival knives, mainly from Europe, and always been impressed with the rust resistance, the wear resistance, and overall durability. I've never had really any issues, and it only comes down to resharpening, because it can be a bear sometimes to resharpen. Well, this knife, through all of the use, got a couple little burrs like you would expect on most blades over time, and so I was like, you know what, this is the perfect opportunity. I want to know if I could hone this edge, or is it going to be kind of a nightmare? Well, I used my WORKSHARP field sharpener, and I started with my coarse ceramic rod, ran that maybe 20 times, then did my fine ceramic rod about 20 times, and then my strop 20 times, and that removed all the burrs and made it terrifyingly sharp again. So basic field maintenance, I would say, is not going to be an issue with this Elmax. I mean, if you totally, like hit a rock at full swing or something and get a ding in it, yeah, it's going to be a nightmare to completely work that out. You're going to probably need to spend some elbow grease, but this is definitely able to be honed easily out in the field. And though it's not necessary on Elmax, I love that like rust-colored wash. It's purple and red and got like mustard yellows in there. It's wild. You don't need it for rust protection, but it's super cool to have. And you don't, there are options if that's like not your jam. They do have just like basic stone wash or whatever, but it just adds like a super sick flair to that particular blade. Leave a comment what you think about that. Now, let's go ahead and pivot to ergonomics here. Ergonomically, very large, exactly what you want, full real estate. You do have a choil. The handle to tip is 6.75, cutting edge is 6. On that type of a knife, I prefer choils. It allows me to choke up and really get the control I want. The balance point is directly over the guard, the metal guard right there. So excellent balance point. You do have black micarta handle scales, ribbed, giving you really good tactile feel, but don't create a hot spot. The spine is crowned, no issues there. It does just feel great. Just carving with it, cutting with it, doing your basic stuff. Again, it's not a bushcraft knife. Let's talk about Sheath, and then I want to swing back to Ergos for chopping, and that will lead us right into the competitive options as well. Now, when it comes to the Sheath on a knife like this, one tool option kind of concept, for me, it has to be a sheath that is going to carry the blade easily on my hip with quick access for miles and miles and be comfortable and be able to do that really well. So does this sheath execute that? Yeah, it does exactly what I would want and is one of the best Kydex sheaths in this kind of arena that you would want. Nice to see 2 tension screws with rubber gaskets in there, allowing you to cinch down or loosen depending on your tension. From the factory, the tension is excellent. It's not coming out. It does not rattle. That movement is just the lanyard flopping around. And then we have a good thumb ramp right there, which means I don't even have to do any walk up, and I'm locked in on that guard, ready to deploy quickly if necessary in a self-defense roll, and then snaps back into place with a nice ambidextrous webbing attachment that you can unscrew, swap, or take off and do your own attachments. So let's talk pricing and competitive options. And I have the REIFF knives F6 in Magna Cut, and I have the LIONSTEEL M7 in Sleipner as well. So when we talk about pricing first, this thing's $500. $500 for this midweight survival knife. Obviously more expensive than the other two. And yes, of course, it is top tier. Now the fit and finish, quality, precision, I mean, it's cherry, but you have to determine if you want just get it done survival knife, or you're the type of person who wants the premium. You know, it's like this. I'm just getting into hunting, got my hunting license, going to be doing that for the first time in my life soon. And when you're looking at a hunting rifle, you can go with like a $400 hunting rifle, $400 scope, and you'll probably be able to land a deer and get it food on the table. Or there's a type of person who wants the best premium, and so they're spending $1,000 on a rifle, $1,000 on an optic, and they're probably going to land the same deer and put it on the table. They just want premium, and there are other people who just want to get it done. You have to determine for yourself what type of person you are and what you're looking for out of your edge tools. This is definitely that premium survival knife because of its fit and finish. But does the design make sense compared to some of these other ones? Now, TRC did not pay or sponsor this video in any way, shape, or form. They sent me the samples, one to give to you guys through the Patreon giveaway, and then one for me to test out. That's it. So I will have a link popping up here over to the affiliate networks I partner with. So if you want to check out the TRC or some of the other options I'm talking about, those are all going to be included in the description box below. Now, as we look at this for the chopping test, what was really interesting, even though this is 15.5 ounces and the heaviest of all three, the contouring of the handle is the best. It did not send any shock without using a lanyard. It was able to stay in my hand, and I could get good out of 20 swings, a good amount of penetration. With that said, the M7 with 20 swings did better without a lanyard hole, even though it is lighter, partly because the balance is slightly different, but the bird beak is really where it's at. The bird beak actually sends more shock fatigue in your hand, but because it's transitions up more, you have more confidence so you can swing harder and bite in deeper. So what would that translate to? Maybe over, say, 100 swings? I don't know, maybe more fatiguing with the M7, but for pure biting in, partly because it's got a higher grind and thinner stock too, the geometry is just there to remove more meat quicker with the M7 than there is with the TRC. The TRC is still very capable and actually more ergonomic, but it falls behind a little bit. Then the F6, it's not a good chopper. It's the lightest. The handle, great for bushcraft, great for woods cutting and carving, but without a lanyard, I was barely hanging on for dear life, didn't bite in as deep, and will absolutely torpedo across the campsite and stab into a tree or your buddy if you're not careful, if you don't have a lanyard. If you use a lanyard, then you can definitely get some more swing and more power, but that's just, I was doing it without lanyards, so that's the thing. Now, along with that, ergonomically, great, again, for bushcraft, but when we look at the TRC, and this is where like the crossover capability comes in, nowhere near the confidence of stabbing, and the blade shape is just way better for tactical application, battle belt, go bag. The REIFF knife, I'm not putting in a go bag. This one, the TRC, I'm definitely considering putting in a go bag, but then can take off out of my go bag at the trailhead, put on my belt, and go for a day hike and still get all of the survival capabilities done as well. Same with the M7. M7 is obviously the cheapest, right around 200 bucks usually. And it's awesome. And for wood camping, absolutely love this knife, and would probably choose it over the TRC. But I'm never going to take this into a go bag, put it on my battle belt, use it in different applications because of the huge kind of rounded blunt tip. It just isn't there for that, and it just feels very unwieldy even though it's lighter. It just feels a lot more bulky, kind of bulldozer-esque, and then the TRC feels a lot more like a dart flying through to accomplish the task. So it's really going to come down to style, performance. What do you look for out of your blade will determine whether or not the TRC Apocalypse makes sense for you. I think that name is excellent and absolutely threads the needle for me in these midweight survival knives of giving me a premium tool in a design that I currently do not have, so I can trust it in other scenarios that I won't always trust these other blades, and gives crossover capability in a fresh new way. But that's me. That's my mileage. What do you guys think? What's your take on the Apocalypse? Again, if you want to have a chance to win, hop on over to the Patreon, become one of our Patreon members. Check out the other videos, subscribe if you haven't, and can't wait to see your guys' feedback and thoughts. Love you guys. Until next time, always remember to stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.